Hey guys, happy Monday/Tuesday, depending when you have decided to watch this. This is actually take number 3 of this. My first 2 just disappeared after I finished recording. So I'm actually going to try to make this a little quicker than the other 2 in case it messed up. So I'm at home now, as you can see, instead of at school. So let's go over the math properties, a real quick review, and then I'm going to show you what your assignment is today, and then we're done. And you'll probably hear my dogs walking around on the floor. Okay, let's start with the associative property. Let me get myself out of the way here. So on the associative property, we have the associative of addition and multiplication. So when we think of the word associative, we should think of associate. I made my students in class do hand movements, like we are associating these things together. Somebody made a good connection. They said they thought of the word connecting. We're associating these things together. They're associated, so they're connected. So right here in this first one, we have A and B that are associated together, plus C, and they're saying it equals the same thing as A plus B with B plus C associated. And the same thing happens for multiplication. Let's look at what this looks like mathematically. So if I had numbers instead of variables, we would say, let's associate 3 plus 4 on this side. And on this side, they decided to associate 4 plus 1. So 3 plus 4 would give us 7. 4 plus 1 gave us 5 on this side. But if I finish the problem, 7 plus 1 was 8. 3 plus 5 was 8. And 8 does equal 8. So the associative property works because even though I move the association around in the problem, it still gives us the same answer. Next, we have the commutative property. So this one you've been learning since elementary school. It just means to switch the order. So in my class, I had my students say we're commuting from here to here, from point to point, from here to there. You're commuting. So the 2 went from that side to that side. 2 plus 3 is the same as 3 plus 2. Also, it works for multiplication. 2 times 3 is the same thing as 3 times 2. So that's a commutative property. You're going from one thing to another. Okay, my favorite, the distributive property. So you could also think of this as the Oprah property. If you've ever seen the video or the gif of Oprah saying, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car. That's a distributive property. It's distributing something to everybody. So the A is being distributive to the B and the C, which makes AB plus AC. Mathematically, what this looks like with numbers, instead of algebraically, it would be the 2 is being distributed. Another way I told my students, I'm like, think of it distributed money. You get money, you get money, you get money. Okay, so the 2 gets distributed to the 3 and to the 4. So 2 times the 3 and 2 times the 4. That's why I made a big deal earlier on with order of operations that if you see a number outside parentheses, that means to multiply. So we have 2 times 3 plus 2 times 4, which simplifies to 6 plus 8, which equals 14. And if I would have just solved this via order of operations, we would have just done 3 plus 4 equals 7, times 2 is 14. So it's the same thing. And that's why the distributive property works. So I know you're probably thinking, well, why would you not just go ahead and solve it here? If we were looking to solve, yes, that would be the fastest way, is to do your parentheses and then multiply by 2. But soon we're actually going to be talking about the distributive property, and we're going to be using it with variables. So it's important that you understand what the distributive property is. Okay, the last 2 is the identity property. So for my students in class, their hand movement was this, because identity is who you are. So that identity property for addition, and sometimes called the identity property of 0, is that when you add 0 to anything, it doesn't change its identity. 12 plus 0 is still 12. I didn't change the identity of 12. X plus 0 is still X because we didn't change. Nothing was actually changed. We're just putting the added 0 in there. So we also have the identity property of multiplication, or the identity property of 1, where if we multiply any number by 1, we didn't change that identity. 12 times 1 is still 12. X times 1 is still X. 6X times 1 is still 6X. So that number did not change to a different number, so it kept its identity. So we have the associative property. We're associating things together. We have the commutative property. We have the distributive property. And then we have the identity property. Okay, so you can use your notes for the Nearpod activity that I'm about to show you, but it's just going to be reviewing all these properties and making sure that you understand which one does what. Okay, let's exit this slide. Where'd it go? There it goes. Okay, so your Nearpod looks like this. The first slide is just going to be for you to match the definition with the property. So you just move that arrow up. And then you just, okay, the associative property matches whatever. Okay, and you just click on it and then you click like that. It'll tell you if you're wrong. Okay, so that wasn't a definition, so it couldn't have been that one. So you click one of the properties, you go read, find the one that means that, click it, oh, that's wrong. It'll tell you until you're right and wrong so you can make your matches. Next, all you're going to have to do is give an example of the associative property. So if you have your notes out, don't do the exact same one that's in your notes, but come up with your own example. You just type it here, and then you hit post. If you're the first one, you're not going to get to see other people's, but if you do this later, you'll get to see other students' responses. This one, give an example of the commutative property. Make sure you don't get the associative and commutative. Remember, associative should have parentheses. We're associating them. Commutative, we're flipping. Okay, we're changing the order of things. And remember, it can be adding or multiplying for both. This one is just filling in the blanks, so complete the distributive properties. So hint, hint, if this is 4 parentheses 2 plus 3, I'm distributing the 4. You get a 4, you get a 4, you get a 4. So you're just going to take the 4 and you're going to put it in where it belongs. Okay, and then you hit done when you're done. And then you have a question about explaining the identity property and giving an example of both additive and the multiplicative. And lastly, you just have a 4-question quiz to see if you understand all of the properties. I do want to point out on question 2, it says check all that apply. Hint, hint, that means you probably have more than one. Okay, guys, if you need any help, I would love to see you on the Google Meet at 1. I'm planning on Thursday of doing a GIM kit, so hopefully you join. Go ahead and set aside time to come in. If Thursday doesn't work for you, let me know and I can see if we can move some things around, maybe do it Wednesday. But I hope this helps and I hope you guys have a great day. See you during class. Bye.